The famous building in Liverpool, the most famous building, is the Liverpool building with the birds on the top. And my father was in the Merchant Navy during the First World War and docked there once and went into the building, happened to see a very pretty secretary, and he was desperate to get in touch with her, but he didn't know what to do about it. And he noticed she'd signed some documents and blotted it on blotted paper and then disappeared. He then, to his eternal credit, grabbed hold of this blotting paper and shot off to the gents' lavatory and held it up to a mirror and deciphered her name. And that's how he met her. It's rather sweet, isn't it?
That's a lovely story.
And that's, they got married, and my two brothers and first arrived, and then me. And I think it was basically, it was all down to my headmaster, who was a very nice, erudite gentleman who believed in the better things in life and produced a lot of school plays. And I don't know why I went in them. And then he was a great friend of the producer at the Liverpool Rep, which was very famous. And he took him to one of the school plays, and this man made an extraordinary statement. He looked up and he said, "Now that boy," he said, "is a born actor," pointing at me, of course. My mother heard this, and being a frustrated actress herself, seized upon this, and off I went to every dancing school in the vicinity. That's how it all began. I was eventually auditioned by Sadler's Wells, and they offered me a scholarship, and I don't know why. I think even at that age I suddenly realised to sweat away at a dancing class was very tiring, so I decided I'd rather be an actor. And my mother, bless her, totally backed me all the way. I was sent off to RADA last sort of term, just before the war. So, of course, it all went to nothing, and then I went off and joined the Air Force. But then again, luck was on my side, because I got in with the RAF Goon Show, in which, may I say, was also Peter Sellers, Tony Hancock, Dick Emery, a group of us. And the funny thing about the camaraderie, we sort of looked after each other after the war. In other words, Tony got my first job in radio. Peter Sellers got me my first job in films. So, you see, it was rather nice.
Now, many people who know Graham Stark will immediately think of the movies, won't they? Because I think you appeared in close on 100 movies and directed a few as well.
I've got... It's rather frustrating, actually. I've got to 99, would you believe it?
And we talked in great detail about the Pink Panther movies with you when we talked about remembering Peter Sellers.
Oh,
but,
yes.
I mean, we only have to watch It'll Be All Right on the Night to see the number of giggling fits the two of you had when you were filming those, because you'd set each other off, wouldn't you?
Well, eventually got to the stage, and Blake Edwards had to finish up filming me on my own. And sent him out the studio because, he literally got hysterical. I mean, he couldn't control himself. And I was just as bad. And it was a wonderful time. Wonderful time.
Are they some of the happiest memories?
Yes, although I've been very lucky. I've after all the lot of pictures I've made, and 99% of them, are very smashing and nice people. They have this image, I think, outside the profession that, there's a lot of backbiting. It's not true, just not true. I mean, the most wonderful things have happened to me. I made films. I'm looking at a picture here of Vittorio Gassman and Dear Julie Andrews. And, you go on, and they're really lovely people. They're very funny people. And they've got a job to do, They can't muck around.
Well, you were friends with some of the funniest, I have to say, as well. I mean, not just Peter Sellers, but Spike as well, of course. And there's some...
Oh, Spike.
There are lots of people have dined out on Spike Milligan stories over the years, but you've got more than most, I think, haven't you?
Well, of course, he a very tortured soul. When you're gifted with that extraordinary brain, which he was. But he was a very brilliant man.